Oh, live on Periscope. Not live on Facebook yet. About to be live on Facebook. 3. Oh, wonderful. Live on Facebook, live on Periscope, live on YouTube. Yes. So now we have to do this whole thing over again. Hold on, folks.
Well, we were only talking about indigestion. So
That's true. That's true. Okay. Here we go. We're back. So let's wait just a few minutes. Make sure the people are with us.
Come on,
Wonderful.
people, come to us.
Ty is ordering vegan food, and I unintentionally brought down the live feed. So now we're going to wait just a few. Oh, another $1.99 from J. Zeus Kreutz. Kra. Thank you.
I don't know.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Claire.
As a reminder, before we get into today's presentation, this is a super chat on the YouTube, Facebook. There is the link to our GoFundMe, which we're going to be talking about this fine afternoon.
Pork Chop would like to continue the story of indigestion. All right, long story short.
Why do we have to make
people?
Yeah, let's wait till more people are here so they know
They do not care.
a slob.
No
They
one
don't
cares,
care.
but
No, they
Pork
actually
Chop
don't.
really cares.
You don't
You're right.
realize.
They don't care.
You don't realize.
They don't care at all.
No,
The people
Pork Chop
do
just
care.
for you. Pork Chop just for you. Zero pain tolerance.
Not true.
Very uncomfortable with being uncomfortable.
Not true.
That said, he is very constipated due to his medications. He will not follow any of the suggestions I give him to solve that problem. And he has indigestion, and he will also not follow the steps that I've told him to take about that. So what we get is this disaster.
This.
Quick out the window, y'all. I don't know what that's about. So I do have a pain tolerance, so that's not true. I do have a little indigestion. I'm working on my digestive tract. Might have to go to the doctor for that. Jordan did not even hear the sirens. There you go.
The siren I was just.
Oh, you didn't hear it because of the sirens. Yeah. We're working on the soundproof studio. That will be the next GoFundMe. First, we got to do this GoFundMe. So press the share button, folks. Get this out to as many people as you can. I'm doing this from a little different setup today so we can get all of us in here. As you know, my name's Jordan Chariton.
Jen dies.
Billy Ocean.
That would be Tommy Bayless. Jen is co-founding Status Coup with me. As you can see, the hat. Ty Bayless, when he is paying attention, is our photojournalist. He's
Well, I don't have to pay attention because you know how to do all the technical stuff, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, it would have been nice if you were handling those things. So Tommy is our photojournalist. He'll be doing some live streaming and reporting eventually. And Jen has been handling all of the startup tasks as we basically are close to launching Status Coup, statuscoup.com, and the official company. So before we get to the GoFundMe, talk about what it's like trying to build a brand new independent media network in a sea of social and digital media suppression and many other obstacles.
So it is
a sea
of obstacles. So I've been in digital media for over 10 years, and I've never seen it this bad. Like we talk about the suppression, we don't want to over talk about the suppression, but it's there. Like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. We have to pay to get any reach at all on Facebook. We have to pay to get any reach at all anywhere. So that stings. Also, there is a certain snobbery about independent journalists that we're running into today. So I'm not one to back down from that. I will be attending the event I'm trying to attend as a journalist. It will happen.
Yes. So what I find interesting, because obviously I have been more on the reporting end of things than trying to launch an actual business. So I've never really done the business stuff, but over the last few months, Jen doing, I would say, a good 90% of it. But what I have witnessed is even in progressive media circles, there's not a lot of news outlets out there that actually want to roll up their sleeves and go out and actually dig in the trenches, jump in the trenches, so to speak, to show you what is going on around this country. Thank you, Denise. $10 in the super chat. Just wanted to send you guys some love since I usually miss the live feeds. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. Denise, thank you so much for the $10 in our super chat.
Yay.
And today we're going to be showing you exactly what kind of good work we're looking to do. So thank you for the support. But there's really, at the end of the day, there's really few outlets that go out there on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis and cover the stories that are not sensational, cover the stories that are not trending on Twitter or Facebook, cover the stories that have very, very life-changing and critical implications and consequences for average people, because at the end of the day, most media companies, whether they claim to be progressive, conservative, or vanilla, at the end of the day, most of them are owned or funded by the very people that are keeping you down. And you know what I'm talking about, whether it's MSNBC and NBC, owned by Comcast. You have CNN, right? It might be owned by AT&T. Right now, it's owned by Time Warner. These are multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates that have spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on corporate lobbyists. So the very media that is supposed to be holding the government accountable is in bed with the government. You can't hold the government accountable if you're pounding the pavement to get the government to give you tax cuts as a media company, to deregulate, and do those kinds of things. So we have corporate media that is owned and operated by essentially the oligarchy, to more, even some independent outlets that, even though they have good intentions, just haven't figured out a way to do more than just basically chase clickbait.
Right.
And I, obviously when I was at the Young Turks, but more so now, what are you doing?
Taking a selfie.
Oh,
I'm ordering.
Yeah. And Ty isn't being rude, but Ty,
He's ordering.
when did you?
I was just ordering.
What time did you stay up till this morning?
He was up when I got up.
Yeah, I was up till 10 because I had to go to the post office. So I was up till you got up. I finished around 8:30, and then I had to go to the post office. So I was up till 10. Got me like 4 hours of sleep in from 10 to what time you woke me up at 2?
Tell them why you were up. You weren't partying.
Oh, I was up doing what you're about to see in 5 minutes.
Yes.
I was up.
Yay.
Yes. So basically,
So I haven't eaten all day, so I don't want to be lightheaded.
Jay, yes, let me type it in.
What?
Just you guys continue. I'm typing in the P.O. box.
So when Jen and I started talking about what kind of news organization we wanted, I mean, there's a digital diarrhea, no pun intended, to my situation. There's a digital diarrhea out there. There's a ton of content out there. There's a ton of outlets covering the same exact thing. And honestly, I think it's oversaturation of a lot of content that claims to be news that's frankly just nonsense. So really, the type of news network that Jen and I want to create, that Ty wants to create, is essentially, I know it sounds simple, but actual real news, the kind of news that affects real communities. We want to expose and spotlight real struggle. We want to expose and spotlight real injustice, real corruption, and we want to do it on not an occasional basis, but we want to do it on a day-to-day basis.
They like the hats. The hats are actually going to be better. These aren't exactly our logo.
Well, you like that?
Officer Chariton. So press the share button. We want to get this. We want to get this audience up before we play the video that Ty worked on so hard.
Gilliam, in 10 minutes, we will show you our GoFundMe and the video that goes with it.
Can you guys hear Jen? Because I can't hear her and she's right next to me. Can you say that
validate that I am loud enough and that he's just extra loud.
Okay, Sam Oser writes, we'll be reporting on those who are working on a new workers' movement. We're reporters, not activists. That is Sam Oser. She's been a fearless friend to me, to Jen, to Ty. She worked on us on
Sam?
some other things. And
Paul says they can hear me.
She'll be helping.
She's on the cut, too.
Yay.
Colin Tooley. Colin Tooley was my editor when Ty wasn't with me anymore. Colin Tooley has been, wrong word.
Colin is the man.
Colin has been working till 3 in the morning till 3 in the morning on a consistent basis around his full-time job to cut the videos you see on this channel. This channel is almost at 17,000 subscribers in 6 months. It would not be anywhere near that without Colin, because I sure as hell can't edit. So Colin, thank you very much. Colin is the best. So
thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Hey, actually, Colin, I saw that scroll you did. It's way smoother than mine. I need to talk to you about that. See what you did to actually make it smooth.
Mooches, Jordan?
No, he says shut up while she's talking.
Oh, okay. You know, I need to be called out sometimes. I need to be called out. So I'm gonna wait just a few more minutes to play the video. But
talk more about what we're trying to do. I feel like unless I wasn't paying attention, did you really even get into why?
No, because I'm waiting till the audience goes up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So you know, I and Jen, basically, I would rather sell my soul and go do public relations than ever do journalism that chases clicks, that chases followers, and essentially is indebted to meeting quotas for traffic. That is essentially the predominant form of journalism in America. It's not actually covering the stories that matter. It's covering stories that will get you clicks, will get you traffic, and essentially keep the people numb to what's actually going on. So with that in mind, we want to create a media network. And thank you, Kirsty, a new $5 Patreon. We want to create a media network that isn't myself or Jen or Ty exclusively bloviating from our apartments, but are out there covering the stories that you already know me for. I'm talking about Standing Rock. I'm talking about Flint. I'm talking about corruption on the state and local level. I'm talking about environmental genocide. We are talking about real stories. They're not going to be always the ones that are trending on Twitter right away. But if we do it right, and if we do it aggressively, and we do it fearlessly, I truly, truly believe we can bring down corrupt public officials. I truly, truly believe we can get really, really important truths out to the masses. Jen and I are working.
Oh, thank you, Exhausted 11.
Jen and I are working on a massive, massive story on Flint. As of now, unless something changes, it's going to be out in October. And you will see with that story exactly what we're focused on and what we're trying to do. So, without further ado, today we are announcing that we are launching a GoFundMe campaign.
Well, let me go through like a little summary first, like a preparation. So we're launching hopefully next month. That's the plan right now, and there's a big, big reason why, and you'll hopefully be excited about that.
Tell them what launching means, the website.
They know what launching means. No. It means you're starting the company officially. So, what we need is...
Your audience is smarter than that,
we need to be able to take on more people to help out in more places. The three of us are doing enough work for 25 people probably. We need to get our content out there. We need marketing. We need equipment. Most of all, we need to get out there in the field covering those stories that no one else is covering. I don't mess up my hair. Here, you can wear it too. So that's why we're starting a GoFundMe. These have been very successful for other people in the past, and I think you will really like what you see. Ty's worked very hard on the video, and so I guess let's show them.
Yes, and we'll obviously expand on the video after we show it to you. So this is our GoFundMe, and thanks to Ty for making it happen. Status Coup is our independent news outlet that we're looking to launch next month. That is very simply put, a journalistic coup d'etat of the status quo.
The Trump administration is
President Trump's chief defender.
And Donald Trump has managed to do that.
63 million Americans went out and voted for Donald Trump.
You see what the corporate media has been covering the last 3 years. It is a goddamn circus. We're looking to raise $50,000 so we can get back in the field and stay out there as long as it takes to cover the stories that you so desperately need to see. Corruption, environmental genocide, police brutality against minorities, and economic brutality against those same people. I want to show you not just the federally corrupt politicians, but the corrupt politicians all over this country on a local and state level. It's going to take a lot more than me. We're going to have other reporters, other photojournalists, but most importantly, getting out there costs a lot of money. And that's why most news outlets, besides the fact that their parent companies don't want them to expose the oligarchy, that's why they don't go out and do it. It's a lot easier for them to say, Democrat A in the left box, Republican B in the right box, attractive anchor in the middle, let's have a food fight while we bridge to the next Viagra commercial. We're not interested in that. We are going to get out there before the rest of the cameras come, and we're going to go back when all the cameras leave. So the country know about what's going on in Chicago.
The rest of the country should know that we get treated unfairly, we get killed for no reason, unjustly, and we don't get justice for these murders, and we need it. It has to stop.
What about the family members of the people who have died? What about them? Who's going to stand up for them? What's going to happen here? Who's going to be held accountable?
People are waiting online for 3 hours just to get bottled water. We are very simply asking for your help. It costs money to do this in a real independent way where we are not indebted to big dollar donors, corporations, or other funders that don't share our values. We're going to be offering to you what you already know me for. Getting out there, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's a holiday, and whether anyone else is covering it or not. I want to show you the next Standing Rock when it's still possible to reverse it. It costs money. Flights, hotels, rent-a-cars, food, last-minute equipment needs, and a whole lot of other miscellaneous things that pop up when you're out reporting. So, how can you help? Whether it's $1, $5, $10, more. Think about the news and the world you want to see created. Think about how we could do it. We're trying to build a community. We are trying to build an independent news army. We're looking to raise $50,000 so we can get back in the field and stay out as long as it takes. You already know the stories that I'm passionate about and will get out in the field and cover. But you're going to be seeing that from me and many more as we build and grow. Thank you so much for your support. And together, we will create the media revolution desperately needed in this country. Boom!
Woohoo!
Fantastic. So, before we start talking about the actual specifics, oh, love it, we hear. I remember watching all of that live. Hat, please. I will wear it to the DC marches. I will wear the hat in the Oval Office. Hey, we'd rather you than Trump.
Nice.
You guys are right. We need to be talking about Fukushima. I would love to go to Fukushima, actually. Or on a boat with a goat. Anywhere, I'll wear that hat. All right. Great job.
On the boat, let it go.
Excellent. So, I wanna say this. There are, God knows, how many media companies, how many activist groups, how many individual journalists out there using GoFundMes, asking for help, and I applaud all of them. I don't try to take away from them, but I want to tell you what I believe and what I would do if it were me. I believe actions speak louder than words. I always say that. I was actually raised that actions speak louder than words. And you already know what our actions are going to be. Ty, what did they tell you? What did those police officers tell you when, what did you tell those police officers that so wrongly arrested you in St. Louis before they put the cuffs on? Tell the audience.
What? Oh, I told them, you talking about before we actually got the cuffs on me?
As they were arresting you.
Would he ask me if I have any weapons on me?
Tell the audience.
That was stupid. Yeah. I know that's relevant. But the cop, he arrested me. And then he said, do you have any weapons in your pocket? I said, no, I only have your little sister in my pocket.
I bring that up because we are not here to, obey officials from the government or police that are unjustly trying to shut down the truth, that are unjustly trying to arrest journalists. We are not going to simply nod our head and say, yes, sir or ma'am, we will move back and not challenge you on your corruption and not challenge you on your illegality or not challenge you on your oppression and violence against unarmed or vulnerable people. So whether it's Ty and myself, basically willing to put our bodies and our lives on the line, whether it is Jenn, who has, I think, become a real thorn in some powerful entities' lives. You should see the email she has been sending and the freedom of information requests she is sending out there to try and get you the truth on stories that no one is digging into. That's always been the most astounding thing to me. Whenever we go out to these stories, whether it be Flint, whether it be East Chicago, whether it be North Carolina, there is zero national media covering these stories. I don't say this arrogantly. I say this because it's true. We don't have much competition. Yeah. Of course, I give a lot of praise to folks like Unicorn Riot, who are on the ground in a lot of places. Democracy Now!, occasionally is out there in the field. Some other outlets I'm not going to mention, occasionally in the field. But we are looking to be out there as much as humanly possible. But the bottom line is, as I said in the video, as Ty could tell you, how many times have we needed last-minute equipment on the road that cost money?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I mean, when we was in Michigan, it happens. It's a part of the game a lot of times, due to weather, due to the circumstances of the shoot, because none of what we do are there's no type of pre-production involved, and what I mean by that is like we get what we get, and then we go. Jordan is more than anything the type of person that knows what he wants to do and goes out to kind of do it. I mean, he obviously, as far as reporting, has his contacts, but when it comes to like certain things that we know or that we think we might need, sometimes you don't even realize you need it until you get to the situation. Like, oh, you want to do this? Like if we wanted to have a town hall, we're like, oh, okay, we need certain things so that when we go live, that people can see it and it won't be cutting in and out. You know, just like I mentioned the other day about the live view. It's a great tool that we have to be able to go live. So it's a whole lot of X factors that you have to take into consideration. The X factor in itself that you may need something when you're out on the field.
By the way, guys, we just got a pop-up notification that GoFundMe donations have started coming in.
Yes. Oh. So if you look in the description of this video.
You got 71 people now.
Oh, wait.
Maybe you should show the video again at the end.
Hold on one second. I want to put the link into the description here on YouTube.
Hey,
so hang with me.
Sam, can you add the GoFundMe link to the description? It took it away. Oh, no, Jordan's doing it.
I'm doing it. So here's the description to the GoFundMe. Now, folks, I want to be very clear on something because I, as somebody who...
Very clear.
I, as somebody who is currently living off my savings, I totally understand that for a lot of people, even giving $5 is a sacrifice and not possible. So I don't want anyone who's struggling to pay their rent or whatever the case may be. If you can't contribute to the GoFundMe, we understand. Just share it. Just share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with other progressive-minded people that want real reporting. Frankly, it doesn't even have to be progressives, because I'll tell you what, conservatives are getting a little upset outside in this country about their homes being seized for pipelines through eminent domain. Republicans, even though they don't mind this president, Republicans want clean water. There are a lot of stories that cross political lines. So the bottom line is...
Pop reality, yay!
So the bottom line is, a lot of outlets say we can't do it without you. And I think, they believe what they're saying. We really cannot do it. We literally can't do it. I can't tell you...
Pop reality, thank you for the $10.
Yes, I can't tell you how many times have I said to you, I wish I could fly today to XYZ.
Yeah, he desperately wants to go to the Bayou Bridge protests. He wants to go to Puerto Rico, a lot of places. You know what I just thought about? Like Rachel Maddow, doesn't she get $32,000 an episode?
36,000, correct.
So our GoFundMe, $50,000 to do amazing journalism that no one else is doing. I
thought she got paid more than that. No?
She made no. I actually think she makes $64,000.
Yeah, I think she gets paid more
That's
than
bananas.
That. So look, don't we look like a rap group? Can they see it?
I don't know.
Look.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, you have to help create the media you want to see. I long for the days that media was free. But the media that is free right now is not real journalism. It's essentially state-sponsored nonsense. You want to watch the TMZ-ification of news? CNN and MSNBC are there for you.
Kimberly, no.
You want to watch the Trump industrial media complex all day long, where Trump's boogers and Trump's tweets are all we talk about, while the reasons Trump was elected, the frustration and hopelessness and anger out there is not covered. There's a reason people are angry. There's a reason people are hopeless. Mm-hmm. There's a reason people are desperate, and it's 30 years of neoliberalism. So that's what we want to cover. And your help, even if it's $5, whether it's $5, $10, $20, some people have more. We've had people contribute $1,000 when we're out on the road. We firmly believe we could get to our goal of $50,000. We firmly believe, based on being transparent, you are going to know where that money is being spent and going to, because we're going to be out on the road very quickly once we get those funds, showing you what it's going to be spent on. You're going to see in October, unless something radically changes, probably one of the biggest environmental stories. One of the biggest environmental stories. One of the biggest environmental stories that we've seen possibly this decade. That's not from me. That's from Erin Brockovich saying that, who's quoted in the story that we are currently working to get out. And that story will be coming, if everything goes to plan. It's going to be in a very big news outlet and hopefully get the traction that the people of Flint so desperately need. But at the end of the day, you guys are going to be the one that create the reporting. We are going to be the ones out there being aggressive, not standing in line saying yes to powerful government officials. You have to help us create it.
By the way, we haven't set this up yet. We will be doing some more things. Yay, we have another GoFundMe donation. Thank you, Frank. One of the perks for some of the higher levels will be hats and shirts. Status Coup hats and shirts, just like you guys want. So look for that. I also want to focus on how this benefits you, because why should you give money to us? There's so many. You could donate to campaigns. You could donate to other independent outlets. Like, why should you donate to us? And I think the answer to that is because we want the journalism to be yours. Our motto is literally giving the microphone back to the people. So if you feel like you don't have a voice, then if you feel like you don't have a voice, which I think is the majority of all of us, that's what we want to be. We want to report on the stories that are in your area, that matter to you, that matter to real people. So we just need support to get there. This GoFundMe, it's a high goal. $50,000 is a lot of money, but many hands make light work. And that's why the $5 here, the $10.
Wait, say that again, girl. Where you get that from? Many hands make light work. I like that.
I definitely didn't invent it, but I love it. So the $5 here, the $10 there, it helps so much. And I know that if this GoFundMe gets around, so sharing this is going to be a huge part of it. If you share this, we will be able to earn this money and give you the microphone and report on the things that you care about. So,
and I want to just add something that I find important.
You've been adding all day. Can I say something? No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I forgot I was going to say, you cut me off. I thought I was at the gym.
When I started at the Young Turks, and this is not at all anything bad about them, but when I started the Young Turks, they didn't ever have any reporting. They didn't have any reporters. So it was kind of creating something out of thin air. And, the normal thing to do in media.
Thank you, Pop Reality.
Thank you, Pop Reality. We still have a super chat going. The normal thing to do in media, especially during a campaign, would essentially be to go campaign stop to campaign stop, primary state to primary state, debate to debate, and essentially interview pundits, essentially interview campaign workers and staffers, and essentially interview all the, frankly, elites about the horse race of the campaign. For reasons that I've always had, I pitched to the Young Turks when I was there, how about I actually go out and 99% of what I do is interview people. And, to my former outlet's credit, they said, have at it. And what actually successfully happened, not because of me, but because people so desperately want to be heard, is doing that at the Young Turks grew a pretty big audience because nobody else is doing that.
Thanks, Giselle.
Very few people, actually, very few media outlets, as their bread and butter, go out and get their news and get the truth from residents and activists on the ground.
Yes.
You're not going to get the truth from government officials.
Yes.
You're not going to get the truth from pundits. You're not going to get the truth
Yes.
from spokespeople.
Yes.
You get the truth from the Melissa Mays.
Oh!
You get the truth from residents who are on the ground, who know where the bodies are buried, who know who the corrupt officials are and what they've been doing. We don't have all the answers because we're not from your communities. I get most of my news and most of my truth from you.
Frank, I want to address your question. So $50,000 is likely projected to go for about 6 months. That includes equipment, travel, paying us, and to be very clear, Jordan is not taking anything from status quo right now. We hope that he needs to live, so we hope that can change. So Frank, I hope that answers your question. And as for other companies, we are not them.
I want to add to that. Frank asked how long would $50,000 send you. So first and foremost,
Which is what I just answered.
I know, but I have different.
Okay.
Oh, there's your food.
Oh, Ty's vegan food.
So, first and foremost, our business model, long term, is not GoFundMe's. This is a pre-launch.
Right.
GoFundMe to basically give us that spark,
a boost,
that boost to get out in the field. I firmly believe, because I have seen enough around the country, and I have seen how the people and the audience respond to real reporting. I believe if we have the initial funds to get out in the field and not be looking at our calendars, oh, we can only stay here for 3 days because we don't have any money, we could actually dig in to stories, then we are going to be able to grow our paid subscriber business. We are trying to launch a company, big picture, not off of doing a different GoFundMe every 6 months. We don't plan on doing that. We are planning to launch a sustainable business model off of getting out in the field and doing two things. One, exposing oligarchy and all the things that you know me and Jen and Ty for. And at the other end, breaking news and covering news. It's not always breaking a story like Watergate. Sometimes you break a story just by putting a camera somewhere that nobody else is.
Thank you, Gabriel.
It's not necessarily breaking Watergate every time, but it's breaking silent injustices which allow other people to become active and create activism. So what I'm telling you, this is essentially what we're doing as a spark plug to get out in the field. And we believe when we are out in the field, and we don't have to, how many conversations have I had with you? Yeah, I'd love to stay for 2 weeks, but we don't have the money.
Yeah.
Right.
We believe if we could dig into stories and see where the bodies are buried and expose the corruption going on, then the business, which is paid subscribers, progressive sponsorship, we will be looking for sponsorships from businesses that share our values. We will be looking for sponsorships from individuals that share our values. You're going to know who's part of status quo. But we cannot...
And I think also they'll have a great sense of that in October.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it pains me because this story that Jen and I have been working on, and Ty, he's working on the documentary for it, should have been out months ago, but that's besides the point. This story is a perfect example. Thank you.
Thank you, Jillian.
Jillian just left
for the
$30 on
GoFundMe.
the
And
GoFundMe.
also, shout out to Denise who donated to GoFundMe.
Yes.
You guys are wonderful.
But this story that is on target to come out in October, do you know why this story is a story? And again, it's on the Flint water crisis. without getting into too many details, it is a massive story of corruption, a massive story of government illegal behavior, and it's a story that will expose, in my view, that the water is not clean in Flint. But do you know how we got that story? By Jen and I, for 2 weeks. For 3 weeks, knocking on over 400 doors in Flint. Do you know how we did that? Because we didn't have the funding at that point to do it. Pretty much on our own minuscule savings.
Well, and that's the other thing, is we are so frugal. We find incredibly low deals because we care about the stories. We don't care about staying in, a fancy hotel.
Tell them about the burnt men.
Well, there was this one time where I was being extremely frugal, and we didn't want to stay too far away from Flint, so I found this inn. I won't shame it, but maybe I should. It was very cheap, but it was absolutely disgusting. And not only that, we were later told by a Flint resident that it is known for human trafficking. So whenever I would go to the car or something, like, Jordan would watch out the door to make sure I wasn't human trafficked.
Hold on. He wouldn't just watch out the door. He wouldn't walk with you.
I mean, no, it was very
interesting.
Now he's challenging my man.
It was very close to the door.
Right. So, yeah. So I think at the end of the day, you also mentioned other companies that have done things like that or whatever. We're not other companies. And I've always said actions speak louder than words. So if we raise $50,000 and then you see me and Ty and Jen sitting on our behinds, bloviating about nonsense from our apartments and not getting out there, then there's going to be hell to pay for all of us.
Yeah.
But I think you know who I am. I think you know who Ty is. And I think you know by now who Jen is. We're not doing this so we could have like a company credit card and go out for steak. We are doing this so we could get out there and cover the news that matters. And by the way, if you click on the GoFundMe link where you could contribute, there's a list of stories we want to cover. I want to get down there and cover the Bayou Bridge pipeline, where water protectors and journalists are getting arrested on private property that they have permission to be on.
You know what?
Marshall Villager, I do want to cover that a lot.
You have to start sharing some airtime.
Then
I think I feel like everyone knows you. I think they know what you do. I don't think there's a question that if you look at any other pundits, any other progressives, or any other YouTube-like people, that they're always pontificating in their home, and they know you for going out, for being in the shit, for like being on location, talking to the people in those neighborhoods. I don't think that's a question, and I think everyone here understands that you would do that.
Yeah, and I also think, to be clear, we're not knocking progressives who do commentary from their home. I think Jimmy Dore is super, super important. You don't have to go out in the field to make a difference, because there's great progressive commentators that are challenging power every day from their home studios or whatever. So we look at ourselves as a real compliment to that. Yeah. We look at ourselves as, a lot of these commentators and a lot of these individuals are simply commenting on mainstream media news because there's no outlets out there breaking stories. I remember when I was at the Young Turks and we'd break stories on the road, Jimmy would have us on all the time because he was waiting for real news to cover and comment. Yeah. So we believe that there's a place for commentary, from your home or your studio, but we also believe that it moves the needle further to get out there and to expose what's going on. And I want to be very clear about something because, and I'd love your thoughts, Jen, the stuff that we want to cover isn't only, blinking red corruption. I think some of the work that got the best response at the Young Turks, I did a disappearing middle class tour. Literally what I did was just post on Facebook, hey, I'm going to be driving through these 4 or 5 states over the next 5 days. I want to interview people struggling. We were flooded with stories, and we stopped and interviewed a bunch of people. We'll vet it. We'll vet it a little better.
You were reading my mind.
I think it's super important not just to expose, blinking, blaring corruption, but to expose everyday people that have been so screwed. We're on the 10-year anniversary this week of the global financial crash brought to you by the revolving door of our government and our corrupt corporate welfare state. So we want to show you the silent injustice. We want to put a face to what Bernie talks about.
Yeah, I completely agree. There are so many people, actually, literally, I would say literally everyone we talk to when we go out in the field and we say what we're doing and the types of stories we cover, they are so excited. Democrat, Republican, poor, wealthy, everyone, because this doesn't exist. So covering those untold stories that need to be told, if this country's ever going to get better, is what we have to do.
I agree. And I also want to say, you know, the best moments I've had, honestly, in my independent career.
Bernie's not a Zionist.
The best moments I've had in my career, and I'm sure people have come up to Ty too, is not like when I get mentioned in mainstream media. Like, you know, a story I do gets picked up by mainstream media. The best moments I've had in my career is when I was at Standing Rock and I had dozens and dozens of people coming up to me and saying, we came after we saw your video.
Yeah. No, Chomsky's not a Zionist either.
Or or in East Chicago, residents coming up to me and saying, thank you, you're literally saving lives. I don't say that like about me, but if you could do anything in life, if your career could have any type of meaning where you could inspire people to take action, or your reporting could help expose a truth that brings justice, that's, I mean, what else can you ask for a career? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And I know you are very passionate about the police brutality and the spotlighting the everyday, not just the police brutality, but the economic violence that's going on to African Americans and others.
Absolutely.
You said you want some airtime, so
was that a segue?
That was a segue.
I know I did that on purpose. I was like, you was trying to.
Sure.
Anyway, no, I think you're absolutely right. Look, we got 92 now. Mm-hmm. We should play the video.
Keep sharing it, guys.
Yeah. Those things are very passionate to me. I have two brothers right now doing life in jail for murder that they didn't commit. It was one murder. And they both were arrested and put in jail for it. They've been in jail since '97. So that is, big deal to me. Criminal justice reform. You guys know I've done a couple videos on bail reform in California, which I just found out last week just got passed. So there will be no more money bail in California, which means that poor people that don't have the money to bail out won't take a plea deal for a crime that they did not commit because they want to get out to save their job or to pay their rent or to for whatever reason that anyone would want to get out of jail because you locked down. You know, a lot of poor people that aren't able to bail out, they end up losing everything, and they feel so anxious that they just a lot of times cop a plea bargain to a crime that they did not commit just so they can get out of jail. And then a lot of times that comes back to haunt them if they do something in the future. Then that previous case will be used to add more time to a person. So getting rid of money bail in California was a great thing. I did a documentary on that. It's on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. It was with Brave New Films. It's called American Bail Trap, and it was Ty's story. But it really highlights, how the criminal justice system targets poor people, and specifically poor people of color. And now in California, because of Pretrial Justice Institute and ACLU partnering with Brave New Films, they passed a legislation now. We're not saying bail is done in California. In California, bail is an umbrella. Cash bail is just what we always use. But they have where you can get an OR and be released on your own recognizance when you promise to come back. That's something that Washington, D.C. adopted, and it's working out great. People are showing up, even in larger percentage than they did when they when it was just a money bill. They're showing up more now because they're emailing them, they're sending them texts and reminders. So it's a great way to keep people out of the system and to not make them feel like they need to, you know, cop a plea out, their backs against the wall, and they need to make a decision that would normally not make. So criminal justice is definitely like my like passion. Police brutality is my passion. I'm not very particular at all with police. I don't know, would that be the right word? Because I don't like them, is really what I'm saying. I don't think there's good police officers, period.
Thank you, Daniel, for the GoFundMe donation.
So since there's a few people coming into the live stream saying, catch me up, our audience is a little bigger than it was at the beginning. We're going to play the GoFundMe video one more time so people can see exactly what we're talking about. We are trying to raise $50,000 bucks to get back in the field and stay in the field, most importantly, as long as we can. And once more...
And this is seed money. We have a great business model that will grow past this.
Yes. And let me be clear, we are asking the people to create the media rather than selling out to big money interests that probably could have written a check by now, but we would have had to answer them, which I, Jen, and Ty refuse to do. So let's play this one more time. This is the video that Ty stayed up till 8 in the morning. 8 in the morning.
10, I thought.
Yeah,
10.
10, excuse me. Here we go.
You be trying to discount mine. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's Jordan Sheridan, and this is the GoFundMe in the build-up to Status Coup. Status Coup is our independent news outlet that we're looking to launch next month that is, very simply put, a journalistic coup d'etat of the status quo.
The Trump administration is
President Trump's chief defender. And Donald Trump has managed to do that.
63 million Americans went out and voted for Donald Trump.
You see what the corporate media has been covering the last 3 years. It is a goddamn circus. We're looking to raise $50,000 so we can get back in the field and stay out there as long as it takes to cover the stories that you so desperately need to see. Corruption, environmental genocide, police brutality against minorities, and economic brutality against those same people. I want to show you not just the federally corrupt politicians, but the corrupt politicians all over this country on a local and state level. It's going to take a lot more than me. We're going to have other reporters, other photojournalists, but most importantly, getting out there costs a lot of money. And that's why most news outlets, besides the fact that their parent companies don't want them to expose the oligarchy, that's why they don't go out and do it. It's a lot easier for them to say, Democrat A in the left box, Republican B in the right box, attractive anchor in the middle, let's have a food fight while we bridge to the next Viagra commercial. We're not interested in that. We are going to get out there before the rest of the cameras come, and we're going to go back when all the cameras leave. So the country know about what's going on in Chicago.
The rest of the country should know that we get treated unfairly, we get killed for no reason, unjustly, and we don't get justice for these murders, and we need it. It has to stop.
What about the family members of the people who have died? What about them? Who's going to stand up for them? What's going to happen here? Who's going to be held accountable?
People are waiting online for 3 hours just to get bottled water. We are very simply asking for your help. It costs money to do this in a real independent way where we are not indebted to big dollar donors, corporations, or other funders that don't share our values. We're going to be offering to you what you already know me for. Getting out there, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's a holiday, and whether anyone else is covering it or not. I want to show you the next Standing Rock when it's still possible to reverse it. It costs money. Flights, hotels, rent-a-cars, food, last-minute equipment needs, and a whole lot of other miscellaneous things that pop up when you're out reporting. So, how can you help? Whether it's $1, $5, $10, more. Think about the news and the world you want to see created. Think about how we could do it. We're trying to build a community. We're trying to build an independent news army. We're looking to raise $50,000 so we can get back in the field and stay out as long as it takes. You already know the stories that I'm passionate about and will get out in the field and cover, but you're going to be seeing that from me and many more as we build and grow. Thank you so much for your support, and together we will create the media revolution desperately needed in this country.
All right. So, as you could see,
Kudos to Ty.
kudos to Ty on that pretty little video. There's a very big fight going on about Zionism in the group chat. I don't quite get it, but oh well. So we want to reiterate. That this isn't just for us. This is for you, and why this will benefit you. So
I talked before about the fact that we are giving the microphone back to the people. That's our slogan, and that's what we mean. It's exactly what we're going to do, because the stories matter. Your story matters. What's happening in your neighborhood, your city, your state, this country. It matters, and it needs to be reported on, and it's not. What journalism has turned into in general, and the media in general, is a disgrace. And we want to get back to that old school journalism, but better. Finally, this is the answer to what you guys say you want all the time, to what the people of this country say they want in journalism. And also, by you donating to things like the GoFundMe, you're kind of creating this platform. It's yours. It's for you. It's not about us as journalists. We are passionate. We would do it if we made zero money. As long as we could live and have shelter, we would do this because we care so much. So your donations, you are building this company. It is yours. We want you to feel part of the community. We want you to feel part of the stories. We want your story ideas. We want your input because we care so much about you. So don't think it's not all about us. It's not about us begging for money. This is about you building a company that matters and will hopefully change the country in many ways.
And we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think we could change the country.
Right.
Jenn is super smart. I'm half that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm half as smart. And Ty is Ty. And
oh my God.
But as we wrap this up, definitely want to do a bit of a Q&A. Ask us whatever you want. If you have story suggestions you would like to see us cover, once we have this money in our accounts there, let us know, because I have always believed, and I've always operated this way, I get most of my stories not from corporate media. I get most of the stories that we eventually go out into the field to cover from you. I'm talking to somebody right now in Elkhart, Indiana, which the New York Times declared as back. If you remember, Elkhart, Indiana is the RV capital of the world, they say. And in 2008, during the global financial crash, it had the highest unemployment of any county in America at 20%. I went there while I was at the Young Turks, and I interviewed single mothers who are now living in trailer parks because the global financial crash destroyed their lives economically. And what did I learn? Well, the New York Times was wrong. The Elkhart was not back, as they say. The businesses and the CEOs were back, but not the actual people. And I did a reporting series.
Thank you, Robin, for the donation to GoFundMe.
I did a reporting series while I was at the Young Turks that nobody else was doing to expose, no, places like Elkhart are not back. I got that from a viewer. I found out about East Chicago's lead crisis from a viewer in Indiana. I found out that, no, Flint's water is not clean 2 years ago from a viewer. So we want to hear what you want and what you desperately want covered. So let us know. Ask us questions, comments, concerns. Let us have it.
Witchy's asked, can I repeat what I said about the ACLU? I'm not the one who mentioned the ACLU, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
I was speaking on bail reform in California. So I used to work for a production company called Brave New Films, and I did a few documentaries with them, and I still work with them from time to time. But we did a documentary on bail reform, trying to get rid of cash bail in California, and it just passed. So cash bail will no longer be a thing in California. You can check it out. If you go on YouTube, go Brave New Films, look up, I think it's called The Bail Trap, the American Bail Trap, or The Bail Trap, and it's Ty's story. And then it's plea deals. It's like a series of them that I produced. It's shot.
Corinne, thanks for the $42 on GoFundMe. Really appreciate it.
Yay.
No, that was
and we are already over $100, so our goal is 50,000. We're very far away, but every
we're $100 closer.
Corey,
we're 100.
Corinne. I love Corey.
Corey, thank you. We're every time you contribute, even if it's once, we're closer to our goal. So thank you to all. It's not only about reaching that amount. We want to reach it with as many people as possible because we want to show that this is really, really needed.
I remembered something very important to say before we continue on with the. Thank you, Corey. Before we continue on with the Q&A, we completely understand that not everyone is able to donate. A lot of people are scraping pennies together to go to the grocery store. We love all of you, no matter if you can donate or not. And one of the most important things that all of you can do is take some time every single day, please, if you can, and share our GoFundMe link and maybe a story about how our stories have impacted you. Share those on all of your social networks. And take some time every day if you can. That would help so much. So it's not about, we don't want anyone who is unable to financially support us to feel bad. It's not about that. But as I said, many hands make light work. So those who can, please do donate. Those who...
Put that on a t-shirt.
I like it. I like that idea. Everyone can share. Please share everywhere. Spread, paper the walls with it. Print it out. Put it on all the trees in your neighborhood. That's it.
Muhammad Levi said, love what you guys are planning to do. I threw down some on your GoFundMe, and I will keep an eye out and help you meet your goal. Until then.
Love you, Muhammad.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Muhammad.
much. And what else? Any? I'd love to, if you guys got questions or ideas for stories, let us know.
What is more helpful, being a patron or a GoFundMe?
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh, maybe we have a different answer. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right now, I think GoFundMe. Yeah.
I agree. As I was talking about, there's our long-term.
Not that we don't appreciate patrons, and please don't unpatreon.
Our long-term business model is 100% paid subscribers, patrons. We'll have a membership section on our website, but you got to crawl before you can walk. So we could build that, we need to get out in the field. We don't expect people to, we're not going to get thousands and thousands of patrons just being another jack-off in our apartment commenting on the news. We believe our business model is getting out in the field, so we need that spark, that lift to get us out in the field, because I'm tired of saying to tired Jen, Thank you,
Denise.
We could go, but we could only be there for like 2 days. Or we can't go because we don't have the money right now. So right now, we definitely are prioritizing the GoFundMe, and we'll also be doing things to boost our patron. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
$50. Martha Riddle. Thank you so much, Martha. Appreciate it. And Denise says, well, I've done both. Denise, you are wonderful. Denise Columbia. I love that name.
It's a great name.
Thank you. And I will share, no problem. That's all I could do. No problem, Cheryl. Thanks so much for sharing. So before we wrap, again.
Any more questions?
Any more questions? We just got a $5 donation from Eric. Thank you, Eric. If anybody has questions, comments, concerns, to be clear, if you read the GoFundMe, the link is there in the description, you'll see the stories we have on our wish list to go cover. Covering on-the-ground pipelines and the resistances to those pipelines. We want to go around and expose what I think is becoming the Hunger Games in America, and that would be Amazon's assault on its workers.
Yeah,
what's this?
very bad.
Is it Gillamir? What is that?
Guillaume?
Limit.
It's French, right?
Yeah.
Is it French? Okay. So let me just read his question.
Or her.
It looks like
him.
a guy's picture
okay.
right there.
Yeah. I didn't see that.
Yeah, you see that? Interesting. Okay. He's a special guy, I swear to God.
Super special.
Question for the three of you. How many times have you been arrested combined, and what is the reasons that the law enforcement gives? Arresting journalists seems criminal. Well,
Ty.
You outrank me.
I have never been arrested, but I would.
That's their racist inclination. They think that I've just been arrested. No, I'm just kidding. I think as journalists, that was the question. We've been arrested at the same time.
Was that the question?
Yeah, he said because he.
I don't think he meant as journalists.
Well, this is what he said. Question: You know, how many times have you been arrested and combined, gives arresting journalists seems criminal?
Oh, yeah.
I've only been arrested once in St. Louis. You?
Yep. Once.
Once on the clock.
Wait.
Yeah, been arrested a couple other times, but we won't get into that.
Well, you just wanted to bring that up, right?
Yeah.
No, as far as a journalist, badge on, credentials, covering something, we've been arrested once, which is one too many.
And let me tell you something.
It's unconstitutional.
Let me tell you something right now, and it's in our...
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
GoFundMe.
It's in our description for the GoFundMe. Part of why we set it at $50,000 is, let's keep it real. I don't know what you think. We're probably going to get arrested again. Not because we want to, but because there is an all-out assault on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And by the way, I got a secret for you. The resistance isn't going to like me saying this. It started before Trump. There is an assault on the press to stop real journalism that holds the powerful accountable. In Standing Rock, they were arresting journalists for breathing too closely to a protest or something like that. So we do this job knowing we do this job. Gene, thank you so much. $100 from Gene. Can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
We do this job. And by the way, for people who contribute $100 or more, you're getting
a T-shirt.
Hey, that hat kind of makes him look a little young, huh?
Yeah.
On there.
So for people who contribute $100 or more, we're going to send you a T-shirt or hat, whichever one you want. So we'll contact you once for those contributors.
Contact us because we need that set up.
Yeah.
Email Jordan at protonmail.com.
Yeah. Witchy XX says, I'll look it up. I
wasn't done on my phone.
You wasn't. Well, you've been having a lot of
part of the $50,000 is to have a tiny little legal fund for when we get arrested. Not that we want to be arrested. We're not like beating our chest.
Tara May, do 127. You'll get a T-shirt.
I may have warrants.
Yes, but part of it is so we could have a little rainy day fun because we're not going to shy away if we are standing our ground, no pun intended, where journalists are allowed to be.
Yeah.
Tara May, 127.
Sorry, go ahead. Question.
Interesting. No, Witchy XXX. So she was asking, did the ACLU help pass it? I'm pretty sure. I haven't been with Brave New Films in 2 years. I mean, like I said, I still do work with them. So initially, when we started it, it was the Pretrial Justice Institute and the ACLU. If you look on the videos, you'll see the Pretrial Justice Institute. So I know they're the ones that introduced it to Brave New Films. We came on as the media side of it that was going to tell the personal stories of people personally affected by the bail system. So as far as my understanding, they definitely was a part initially. A lot of times some things happen and things get switched around, but as far as my understanding, Pretrial Justice Institute and the ACLU was instrumental in drafting the legislation that went forth in California.
Sinead, don't worry about it at all. Please just share. That's all, yes.
Yeah. And by the way, we're going to be periodically, when I'm live, when we're in the field, reminding you about the GoFundMe. We'll show you progress. We're not under any illusions here. We don't expect to get to $50,000 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a bit of a climb. Obviously, we hope other like-minded individuals with influence, with followers. You know, we've seen how amazing the people responded to Abby Martin's GoFundMe when she and Empire Files is basically a threat of shutdown because of the Trump administration sanctions. So we're definitely going to be getting the word out there to as many people as we can. Definitely share this and get it out to people, and hopefully, again,
Brian on.
Suggest people share this and
Brian, yes,
contribute as much as they can because we believe that once we get to our goal, and obviously we're not waiting until the $50,000 to get back in the field. Once we have enough where we could get back out there, we will be getting back out there. But we really want to, in advance, thank everybody because
Exhausted 11, yes.
We know that you have a choice. Many people contribute to different people on Patreon. Many people are contributing to campaigns. We really believe that once we get this rocket fuel to get out there, you're going to be happy with what you see.
Exhausted 11 asks, did you guys answer a question about reporting from the primaries?
We did.
She want to know. She didn't.
Wow. We just got $127.
From Sandapan.
Thank you so much, Sandy Pin.
So, we are at... Oh, it hasn't refreshed on here yet. I wonder if we can get to 500 by the end of this chat. That would be pretty cool.
We're not as cool as others. We don't have a thermometer or anything, but yeah, why not try to get to 500? That would be good. And somebody asked about what we'll be covering primaries.
Yes, we will be. We will be.
Yeah.
2 people asked.
On our wish list, we definitely want to head down and cover Andrew Gillum, who's, for all intents and purposes, running against Trump 2.0, Ron DeSantis in Florida. So we definitely want to get down to Florida because this not only could be a progressive that runs and wins the governor of Florida, but the first African-American to become governor of Florida. And Florida is a real important state, not only for state politics, but presidential.
Oh, it's at 491. So I'm going to move the goal up to 600.
Holy cow! Getting greedy, I like it. So we're almost at...
greedy, it's for them.
So we're already at 491, and we're trying to raise it to 600. Wonderful. So we're going to stay as long as it takes to get us to 600.
We would love to come to Louisiana.
And fitness and bodybuilding, I have behind the scenes been speaking with journalists on the ground at Bayou Bridge.
Yeah.
So I can continually get updates. If you've noticed on this channel, I've been doing several videos on Bayou Bridge Pipeline, them unlawfully arresting water protectors and journalists down there. So yes, Bayou Bridge is 100% on my list to go down there because we believe that Bayou Bridge potentially, I don't want to say it can become the next Standing Rock, but there are similar things and similar injustices and illegality that went on at Standing Rock that's going on there. The only difference right now in Bayou, there's really very few cameras.
And if you guys haven't seen it, it's the top of Jordan's Twitter. There's this insane video of a protester getting like thrown to the ground by police, and they're just, you can tell she's in pain. They're hurting her. She's screaming. Like, it's a very impactful video. It's very sad.
And Denise, thank you for the $9. Thanks so much, Denise.
Tater, dude, you gotta change the rest of your name. I can't handle it every time.
Who? What is
Tater, you don't want to read it out loud. Yay, Eric! Thank you. Woo-hoo!
Eric, $127. So what are we at now?
I don't know. Your thing won't refresh the right way.
Let me see.
I'm moving the goal up to 700.
Hold on, folks. Woo, it's getting hot in here too. Oh, it still says 365.
Yeah, ours won't update it. I don't know why.
Hold on.
Oh, we can update it here.
Yeah. 627.
Wow, 627. All right, we really mean it. Once we hit 700, we're going to peace out. So, let me show you the screen so you guys could see where we're at here. We're at $627.
Somebody said yesterday that they like the other sign better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, folks, we're not satisfied with only. Jen's not going to like this. She doesn't like it when I overpromise.
What?
We're not long term, folks. Long term.
I think is it wrong?
No, it's just delayed.
Oh, okay.
Long term, we're not only focusing on domestic corruption. There might be some international.
Why wouldn't I like that?
Well, we don't want to promise that now. We got to crawl before we can work.
I'm happy with that.
But there might be some international coverage because God knows.
Wait, does this do an update automatically? Or is that somebody doing that?
That's Sam.
That's Sam.
Oh!
Yeah,
hey,
shout
Sam.
out to Sam.
Sam's operating the live chat. So we might be eventually doing some international coverage too, because God knows what the United States and the destruction the U.S. is causing all over the world. So don't...
We could go hardcore like Abby Martin, go to Venezuela and...
Well, we're certainly no Abby Martins.
Abby,
I bow down.
We love you, Abby.
I bow down. I bow down to Abby Martin, but we're not satisfied at just domestic. That's the long-term vision, but we're going to start small because American corruption is quite the beast in itself. But also to answer your questions, yes, we're going to be covering as many primaries as we can. We want to pick and choose because sometimes progressive candidates are progressive during the primary, and then lo and behold, during the general election, they're not as progressive.
Sorry, are you done?
Yeah.
Should we share with them your idea about the activist wire, but them sending in their video?
Yeah, go ahead.
You do it.
No, you do it. I talk too much.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, absolutely. You do it.
Go ahead.
You do it because he's right. He does.
So Jordan had this great idea, and this is more about how we want you to be part of this community. We want you to be part of this, giving the microphone back to you, back to the people. So Jordan had this great idea to have an activist wire. So we won't be...
Wait. Hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Hush it.
Hold the phone.
You have
Hold the phone.
No, I think he's about to give an update.
Hold the phone.
Oh.
James just donated $1,000.
Shut up!
Oh!
Shut up!
I wish I had music to play.
That sounds familiar.
Oh yeah. Thank you, James.
Amazing.
I want to post his comment too. James, with the 1,000, I'm gonna have to give you a shirt with my sweat if you want it.
Wait, you
Just
don't.
Get him a hat or something.
No, he's getting.
He's getting the whole.
They got some stuff.
He'll get a swag bag.
James Allister writes, "Long live Julian Assange, Seymour Hersh, Ralph Nader, If Stone, Jim Garrison, Jimmy Dore."
Yes.
Can't agree more. Although I'm a little mad at Seymour Hersh, but I won't get into it.
No, he's not really mad at Seymour Hersh. He wrote to Seymour, and Seymour just didn't get back to him.
I called Seymour, and he didn't respond. But that's okay.
Busy.
That's okay.
Fine.
James, I can't thank you enough. I know most people don't have $1,000 to drop, but for those of you who do, we really can't thank you enough because we understand. We understand that you're not just dropping it lightly. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for interrupting. I thought
what
that was
I even talking? It was
the activist.
So the activist wire. So we're not going to be like sponsoring or supporting activist stuff because that's not journalistic. But we want to have a journalist or activist wire where you guys can list what's going on in your area, activist stuff, and also you can submit your own videos. We will do some vetting, but we will not take responsibility for this stuff. But yeah, you can send videos in, do some self-reporting, citizen reporting, literally giving the microphone back to you, back to the people. Yeah. So we have so many really cool ideas, and you guys supporting this GoFundMe, you guys sharing the link every day on all your social platforms. Pretty please.
No, that's
it helps.
great. You know what? I was watching something this morning, and I was like, this shit would be great right before I went to sleep. And it was just a regular guy on Instagram chatting, right? Well, he has like hella followers, and what he can do is someone can request to talk to him, and he can let them, and then the audience will see them to chatting just on Instagram. I think that's a great way to get like people like this want to talk, and they sponsor something where everybody go on Instagram, and maybe we can raise money, we can have a conversation, we can pick one of the people that watch us, and it's easy as just going like this, and now both of y'all talking, and everyone that's watching is seeing you guys have a conversation. I thought it was pretty entertaining to me to see it this morning, and I was like, that's a great thing because we don't really utilize Instagram as much as we should anyway.
That's a good segue, actually. Before I get to the segue, we are moving the goalposts now. So somebody just asked what happened to the rap battle. Ty and Jordan were going to do a rap battle. We were going to do that. Yes. We were going to do the rap battle once we got to 500 Patreon subscribers. Haven't gotten there yet. So now we're going to do the rap battle once we hit 50,000 on GoFundMe. I think that's fair.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
It'll happen.
We're going to do a Jewish fried chicken versus gefilte fish rap battle. That might be the name of our eventual program together. It's going to be epic. I've already started by the way, back in college, they called me Dr. Dreidel. So I'm already prepared for this. And you've dropped some dimes.
Cut it out. Also,
we do have an Instagram. It's Status Coup, at Status Coup or at Jordan Chandler Reports, switchy.
Which one is it?
Both for now.
Both?
Once we officially launch Status Coup, it'll be Status Coup.
But which one will we go live on? Status Coup?
Right now,
which one? Jordan has the most.
Followers.
We should just switch it to Status Coup. He don't even go on Instagram.
That's right.
And then we can start like using it. You know what I mean?
You know why I don't go on Instagram? I'll tell you the truth. Because they limit you to like the stories.
Not when you go live.
Yeah, but on the stories you could only talk for what, 45 seconds? Less than that?
No, the stories. You can go live all the time. It's just that you got a little story, but that's a story.
Yeah,
but you can go live too.
Right. But as a segue, before we got into the rap battle, so 50,000.
They said they got their money on me.
We're doing a rap battle.
Look, my money's on time, but I've heard truly amazing Jewish rappers. Hey, Drake.
Yeah. Madashtahu is fantastic. So a lot of the things we're talking about are going to require not just your contributions financially. Jenn.
Tater, if you changed your name just for me, thank you.
Jenn, with the help of Sam, is setting up a really, really vibrant volunteer network.
Yeah.
Because we are going to need volunteers. To be clear, it's unfortunately volunteers.
No one not so. Only nice people.
We're not going to be, we can't pay volunteers, but if you bleed our vision, we are setting up a system of volunteers that could help us with everything from research to booking interviews to marketing to social media to technology, you name it. We need help. These volunteers are going to be heavily vetted.
Yeah, Sam's going through. So go to jordancheriton.com/volunteer, or it's just a tab on jordancheriton.com, and fill out the form. Tell us like what you can contribute. We want lots and lots of volunteers. Many hands make light work, right, Sal? Mm-hmm. And Sam will be vetting. Then I will be going through the next kind of round. And there's a reason for that. Because this company is very precious and we want to make sure people are fully on board and have the skills to help us. But yeah, please.
And that's also a diplomatic way. Jen's not nicer than me. We want to make sure we're not inviting crazy people into our world. So we also want to make sure you have skills and also have some professional experience.
We were way too nice in the past in having people volunteer for us previously, and it wasn't good.
Yes.
So that will never happen again.
Right.
But you guys are all, I love you all.
Witchy XX, do you need camera help? I do video.
Yeah.
Submit an application.
Especially if we're like on a road. I remember with our previous employer, except with the young terms, I don't know why I said our previous employer. We would travel.
It's like we worked at Geico.
We would travel a lot, and we would always have someone there because I was there by myself, and a lot of times we would have conventions where I would have so much equipment and would have to run somewhere else and be nervous because I'm like, I got all this equipment and I have to, do this. And we would get a lot of people that would help us on the road. Like that would just be in the city and they were fans and they would come and say, do you need some help? I got you. And so,
love you, Colin. Colin's the best.
Colin you the man, dog. We need to talk.
So we're going to close out with one more comment or question, unless somebody drops some more money. And by the way, somebody said, why don't you do a telethon? That's a great idea.
It is a good idea.
We might have to do a telethon.
Why don't we do one more question for each of us? So does anyone have a question for Ty, a question for me, a question for Jordan?
You know what's good also? A telethon where we can then Instagram live with the members.
Yeah.
Like someone can actually talk to us well. That could be a good thing. Excuse me.
Like Jenn said.
No questions.
No questions, comments, concerns. Let it rip. And
we'll even talk about Zionism.
Anybody who wants to leave a last minute at the buzzer contribution, we're already over $1,600. We're already over $1,600. So thank you. Thank you.
You guys are amazing.
I was hoping for this live stream to get to like 500. So
what does William Johnson's question mean? Will you be putting material out on the kickball such as Everpedia? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I used to play kickball. I played second base.
Maybe I doubt if he means that.
Oh, Johnson, kickball, autocorrect from blockchain.
Oh, blockchain. If someone can explain that to us, please do, because we're not smart.
Yes. our vision is to put it out everywhere. We're talking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We do want to leverage Steam It. We just don't have enough hands right now. So Steam It, LinkedIn.
Steam It I'm not so in love with, no matter.
Okay, LinkedIn, other platforms. I know. What can I do? I got to go to the gastroenterologist. Ty just looked at me because I burped up my salami. This is
He does it all the time. When we're recording that video, just like, I'm like, gee, I was going to, it's fine. I was going to put
it's not rude. I can't control it.
I was going to put the little outtakes of you doing that at the end of it, but it kind of got too long. But it was funny, like, when I had edited together.
Yeah, but our content's going to be everywhere because we need to be everywhere to succeed. Absolutely.
Sam, I love kickball.
Any last minute questions, comments, concerns? We also will be, like we said, we are not waiting till $50,000 to get back in the field. We're going to be getting back in the field as soon as humanly possible once we meet the basic. I mean, most reporting trips, give or take, cost $2,000, $3,000. Sometimes
and
more.
That's being frugal.
And that's being frugal.
Extremely.
Sometimes more if you have to stay and really dig into something. So we'll be back in the field long before 50,000, but 50,000 is what we're looking for. So we could really map out the stories we want to cover and go do it. So
and if you guys want to, Jenn said if you want to ask us questions, you should. Because it's a lot of traffic in this thing, just put if it's for Jenn, put Jenn's name right there. Then if it's for Ty, put Ty's name, or if it's for, Big
idea.
Mouth, put his name.
Someone asked me a question. I want to answer one.
Oh, they did?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying I want one.
She wants one.
I want a question.
Sam said LOL because I just called you Big Mouth.
And by the way, before we'll wait for final questions. You should know that Ty is actively working on our first documentary of our Flint reporting. Like Jenn and I knocked on over 400 doors for 3 weeks over the summer.
Honey.
And we're working on.
We're
working on a massive.
More than 400.
We're working on a massive story about that. So Ty's working on a documentary. It's going to be free for everybody. And as of now, looks damn good.
Jenn, Sam wants to know, how are you so awesome?
Sam, I love you so much. Sam's such a great friend, good person, good journalist, good volunteer checker, everything.
Volunteer checker. Witchy, he's editing it? Yeah, Ty's editing it. That's why we pay him the big bucks. So
who's that?
Witchy said he's editing it. Ty?
That almost sounded like you don't like my editing, dog.
Pursuance Project. Yeah, I told Jordan. I said we should look into that. I love Barrett Brown. I think it's a great idea. The Pursuance Project. I'm gonna look into that. If you guys have any thoughts, just send them. Email Jordan at protonmail.com.
Thank you, sir, or ma'am.
Can we tease that?
Yes.
The story we're
Witchy XX. You don't like my editing?
The story we're working on might be in a physical magazine, which is like a dream come true. Fingers crossed.
And not home gardening. Much bigger than home gardening.
Not TV guy.
Not TV guy. So
I'd take TV guy.
The Flint story that we've been teasing for a while, as of now, things could change, is going to be in a major news outlet and a magazine. So stay tuned for that.
My question, Jenn, what convinced you to partner with Jordan?
I know you didn't, Witchy. I was just kidding with you. Jeez.
Jordan is, I don't even know how to word this. I'll be emotional. Jordan is a wonderful friend. He's very supportive, just like the best friend you could ever ask for. On the journalistic side,
you kind of stretching it. Go ahead.
On the journalistic side, there literally is no other journalist besides me now. Like him out there who's willing to go to the people, do whatever it takes to get the story, who will not give in to corporate corruption. And he's one of the most ethical people I know. He's funny. He's good to work with. We work really well together. So I don't know.
Don't say all these nice things.
He's a good guy.
You're going to ruin my street cred out there, you know?
He's a very good guy.
We did not grow up together. All right. The reason you have street credit is because people think you're a nice guy, you can move.
You know, and actually, I'm gonna address that. Like, some people have this like weird idea of Jordan that he's like egotistical and mean or whatever, which I don't understand it. But
I see it all the time. I don't know how she don't understand it.
He has an ego. Let's be clear, but he isn't like he's funny. He's silly. People have this weird idea about who he is. So he's a good guy.
He is. I remember when I first met him, I didn't like him. I didn't. He sent the email that I happened to read, and I was like, "Who's this fucking asshole?" And I had just started at the Young Turks, so I thought, I just thought it was an asshole. But I didn't know him. I just read the email and I took it the wrong way. But as I got to know him, you know, I fell in love. What can you say?
Mom.
Look, somebody asked you a question.
I saw it. Two things. Jordan's eating habits are atrocious. It's not so much my eating habits.
He hardly eats.
It's my colon. There's something going on with my digestion, so I'm going to go to the doctor. Somebody asked, how long do you think it will take for things to truly turn around in this country? I don't want to be cheesy, man, but I actually think they're already turning around. I think what we're talking about doing can only accelerate that. If you would have said, think about 2011 when Occupy Wall Street would have started. When Occupy Wall Street started in 2011. There was no Bernie Sanders. There was no Bernie Sanders yet. Obviously, Bernie Sanders existed, but he wasn't a national name yet. There was no thriving progressive movement. If you would have said in 2011 that in 2018, Medicare for All would be polling at 70% and 52% among Republicans, 70% among all voters. If you would have said that there are a record number of women running for office, particularly progressives running too, and starting to win, starting to beat establishment neoliberal corporate Democrats. If you would have said that there are thousands of people going to freezing North Dakota to march and stand with indigenous people, most people would have told you, oh, you're smoking too much weed, or, you know, that's a pipe dream. So just because we don't see concrete results, as in the income gap drastically closing right away, or more police being held accountable right away, doesn't mean the road isn't being paved with big size bricks as we speak. That road is being paved. But I firmly believe, and why I'm co-launching this media network, I believe that you can't just create change by being a politician. You can't just create change through political activism. That's a big part of it. But the majority of America doesn't know what's going on. If you think about it, the progressive movement and the activism and the energy going on is a pretty small swath of the country. More Americans don't vote than do vote.
Yeah.
More Americans don't watch the news than do watch the news. More Americans are watching, you know, nonsense stuff to just numb their mind. But I could tell you from my own personal experience with my friends, with my family, it's not so much that they're not interested. They don't know, because they're not seeing the Standing Rocks or the Flints or any of this on CNN or on any of these networks. So when you get it out to more people, it makes a big, big difference. So I think the political movement we're seeing has to march in line with getting these stories out to more people. You can't have activism on a much bigger scale. You can't have the masses beyond just the progressives if most people have no idea. I could tell you, water poisoning, pretty bipartisan outrage against that.
Bipartisan
Outrage against that. You know, the eminent domain seizure of people's property, conservatives are pissed off. I had so many Trump supporters that I interviewed say, if I asked them, who are you going to vote for if not Trump? They said Bernie. So it's the two-party system is not quickly enough, but slowly fading away. So I believe that we are together with you, and we already have almost $2,000 contributed in just an hour. So what can we do if we have the funding to get these stories out? I believe we will create the change we want to see. Any closing thoughts?
Just thank you all, and I think you get it, that this is for you. You're part of this community. Why? What's
Because sometimes when you're like, on camera, you forget that you're on camera. And I was looking at Sports Center, seeing people like bust their face open.
Oh,
and I'm like making these weird, because it's the delay, so I can see. I'm just making these weird like faces because I'm trying to hide my face, and it just came off.
The delay is crazy. Yeah, just please share this every day. Like, put it on your calendar if you can, because sharing is really what's going to get it out there, and it's going to help us meet our goal. And you all are phenomenal, wonderful. Keep tuning in.
So, also, I'm going to read a couple of things since we asked for them and we're not getting them. Jordan, this is from Gilliam, the guy we read earlier. Remember his name? Yeah. He said, Jordan, would you consider having volunteers do canvas-style door knocking for fundraising? It could be extremely effective in the right areas and can keep money coming in public.
I don't want to answer that because I would have to check if it's legal.
I don't think it.
Sure.
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
We would have to make sure we could use volunteers to go knock on people's doors to fundraise for our media network.
I think people can do it on their own accord if that's what they wanted to do. Like, you can't stop anyone from doing it. But I don't know. I don't know if it's
to answer your question. If it was legal, absolutely, because there is no better marketing than actual viewers telling people why they need to not only watch this and share this, but help keep it going. So yes,
just the same way that volunteers go knock and say vote for that person. You know what I mean?
We'll ask our lawyer.
Who's quite the entertainer too.
Ari August says, I keep the video of Jordan and Ty covering on the freeway protest and getting arrested in my favorites.
Aww.
True journalism.
Thank you.
It is. That's I think your best work was that day.
Thank
you. What else? Anyone else say anything meaningful?
We do have to get going.
Yes. Oh, are we still going? Why are we on the thing so long? I told you I gotta take a shot.
So, thank you. We're already almost at $2,000. Thanks to you guys. Like I said, we'll be bringing up the GoFundMe. We'll probably do a telethon at some point soon. And to spruce it up, share this as much as you can. And thank you for keeping this going. We are going to show you exactly what we're talking about out in the field with the people. Peace out.
Bye.